NASCAR has raced its way back into Nashville, and I can't help myself but show you guys how to make Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. We'll go through it step by step next on another cooking edition of Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ giving you another cooking edition. We're going to do Nashville hot chicken sandwiches this time, and I'm going to take you step by step from start to finish on how I used to do this at a brewery that I worked at down in Florida. This was an extremely popular dish, and boy, it hit the money as far as spice, flavor, crunch, and juiciness goes. The sandwich just had it all, and I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. It's about a 6-step process. First off, we're going to get some chicken thighs in a brine. Next, we're going to make the Nashville hot sauce and let that sit overnight to marry, get nice and happy. We're also going to do the same thing with a slaw that we're going to use as a topping on the sandwich. We'll get that made tonight and get that in the refrigerator to, again, get happy. And then tomorrow, we'll get the thighs out of that brine, put it in a marinade for about an hour or two, pull it out of the marinade, get it breaded, and then we're going to deep fry it. And I'll talk you through a couple different ways that we can approach the deep frying here in our homes. And then finally, we're going to put it all together and give you guys a finished product on that. So stick with me here, guys. I'll take you step by step. I will be sure to put measurements on the screen and in the description, and we'll get everything cut up into segments here so you can jump ahead or jump back, whatever you need to do to help you guys get this put together. So stick with me, guys. Let's get our mise en place together. Okay, guys, let's talk about our mise en place for our Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. We'll kind of go around the horn here and talk about what we've got. I have got right in the center here our chicken thighs. They have thawed out. We're going to get them in a brine. That brine will be overnight for at least 12 hours. Now, you can do a brine at a minimum about an hour or two. So if you're doing this in a single day, you don't have 2 days to commit to this, you can certainly get this entire process done in roughly about 4 hours. Nonetheless, I'm going to take 2 days because I have this weekend off, and I'll get things started here tonight. That way I give an opportunity for all of our flavors to marry together and have time to interact and gel and get happy. So thighs will go in a brine. That brine will include some red pepper flakes, some paprika, some apple cider vinegar, and of course, salt and water. Remember, Nashville hot chicken, so a lot of our ingredients are going to be kicked up a lot. Speaking of the hot portion of that, let's talk about the sauce real quick. Sauce is going to consist of Frank's Red Hot, some Louisiana standard pepper sauce, and then find yourself a Asian style chili sauce. What I found over here is a gochujang miso. It's got quite a bit of kick to it. In the restaurant that I worked at before, we just used sambal chilies, but today I wasn't able to find them in the grocery store. So I found the closest thing that I could in color, appearance, and texture to what the sambal chili looks like. So that will be the base of our sauce. Also, you can see there I've got some whole jalapenos and some whole garlic there. We're going to leave those whole and they will be cooked in the sauce. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Off to our left here, you'll see I've got some fresh herbs, some honey, some white wine vinegar, and not pictured is some mayonnaise and shredded cabbage. Those are all going to be part of our slaw that is going to go on our Kaiser rolls over here on our right. Now, after we have brined our thighs are going to be rinsed real quick and then put into a marinade for about an hour. That marinade is also going to consist of Frank's hot sauce. Remember, it's hot chicken, so every element here is going to have some sort of heat to it, except for our slaw, which is going to have our balance to our heat. The breading, let's talk about that real quick. Over in the top corner here, I have got AP flour, some cornstarch, and then in the very corner there is peanut oil. I'm going to use peanut oil because you know what, guys? I don't do fried food all that much anymore. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it up the way I like it. Now, you don't have to use peanut oil. It is a little more on the expensive side. You can just use regular olive oil to pan fry with, or even a canola oil or a vegetable oil, though I do not recommend a seed-based oil personally. But to each his own, use what you've got. But nonetheless, we'll talk about all of these processes, and we'll start everything off with how to do our brine. Okay, guys, let's talk about our brine. I have got my chicken thighs put into a gallon bag. There's 4 of them there, boneless, skinless. I like using dark meat chicken for sandwiches, especially if we're frying them. It just holds up a lot better and stays juicier under the higher heats that you're going to get when you're cooking fried foods. Doesn't mean that you can't use white meat chicken in this scenario, but it is very important that you get a brine on the chicken. So let's put all of this together. As you can see, I've got my ingredients ready to go. We have got 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. There is 1 cup of water, and I am going to measure out a ½ cup of apple cider vinegar. We're going to mix that all together in the bag here, then get it in the refrigerator to let it set for at least an hour. But in my case, I'm going to let it set overnight. So it's going to be at least a 12-hour brine. No need to get your hands dirty here. That's why I like using these plastic bags. It just reduces the mess when you're dealing with brining any sort of raw protein or even marinating. These gallon bags, I always have a full container of gallon bags ready to go. Okay, so that's our brine. I just pushed out some of the air, and it's enough liquid in there to cover all of our chicken, and this is now going to go in the refrigerator. Okay, guys, let's dive into the Nashville hot sauce. I've got a saucepan here. I've already put a cup of Louisiana style hot sauce. You can use whatever brand you find. I just found a generic brand. So a cup is already in my saucepan, and I've got a cup here of Frank's Red Hot. I'm going to add that in as well. And as you can see, I am wearing some gloves because I'm about to mess with these jalapenos. All I'm really going to do here is just pop the ends off. I want to try and remove as much of that little collar there, and then I'm going to just throw these guys right on in here. And I'm wearing gloves because I don't want to get these oils on my fingers, because those oils take forever to get off of your hands. No matter how much you wash them, it takes forever. And heaven forbid you need to go to the bathroom. I also have here a couple cloves of garlic that have been peeled, and we're going to throw those in as well. We've moved over to the stovetop now with our sauce combination, and we're going to get things lit and ready to go. I've turned it on to high, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Once we get it to the boil, we'll then reduce our heat to a simmer and allow it to simmer for 20 minutes with the occasional stir, just to make sure nothing is burning. So we'll let this get to a boil, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, our hot sauce is starting to boil, and we want to chop the heat on this. We also want to open up any windows, turn on any fans, plug all of our noses, because it is definitely going to get spicy in here. And I'm going to let this go for 20 minutes. Okay, guys, back at the prep table, our timer has just gone off. And here comes our hot sauce. Boy, does that look hot. Yeah, both versions, yes. Spicy, glazy, and boy, the fumes are strong. I am standing way back from this, and those fumes are getting me. You can see here the jalapeno. I've turned it over a couple of times as it cooked, and it's just softened up here. It's cooked the flesh nicely here, and we've also cooked the garlic here as well. Next up, we're going to put everything in a blender. Now, you can use a regular blender, or you can use a Ninja blender. You're also able to use a food processor. You can see I also have my gochujang chili miso sauce. I've measured out a ½ cup of that. So all told here, all of our liquids combined here is about 2.5 cups. Let's get it all into the blender, get it buzzed, and then we'll move on to our next step, which is to strain the sauce and get it cooled down. Hold your nose, guys. This stuff is strong. Holy cow. And if you haven't noticed, I have my gloves on again because I do not want to take any chances here of getting this stuff on my skin. I don't want any burning, and I certainly don't want any of the capsaicin oils that are in this hot sauce to linger on my skin and cause me trouble later on in the day. So, we've got our sauce out of the pot into the blender. Next, we're putting our chili paste in here. Okay, chili paste is in, and now we're going to go blend everything together. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I want to show you what this looks like here. It is super thick. I wasn't expecting it to get that thick. I'm going to add a little bit of water in here to thin it out. I'm going to shoot for about a 1/4 cup to start with, and maybe add a little bit more beyond that. Okay, guys, this is about a 1/2 cup of water added to this, so I'm pretty happy with this. Next step here is to make sure our flavor is on point here. So the unfortunate task here of tasting. Ooh, oh boy, yeah, that's gonna have a kick to it. Okay, let's strain this down. So we're just gonna let that go right on through the strainer. Now I've got a funnel here, and it is going into just a deli container here. And I'm going to let that cool in the deli container. So I'm just using the rubber spatula here to just kind of help push it through the strainer here. This is a very fine strainer. And as you can see, while I'm pushing it, you can see a little bit of the stuff that's starting to collect on the bottom there. It's just all, loose seeds that didn't get ground up in the grinding process. This is just the extra step that we want to take in restaurants here to just refine what we've got here. Okay, there we go. My nostrils are absolutely on fire. And if you are watching on Smell-O-Vision, yours are too. So we're going to let this guy cool completely before we put a lid on it. And to help the cooling process, I'm going to get it elevated on a wire rack here so we can get some air flowing underneath of that, and that's going to help cool it naturally and a little more quickly. And then once that cools completely, before I go to sleep tonight, I will be sure to put a lid on it, and it will be fine just hanging out on the shelf overnight. No need to refrigerate this. It will hold shelf stable at least a week for sure. Nonetheless, we'll get this cooled down. Let's move on to our next step. Let's get our slaw made. Let's put together our slaw. So a couple of things here. I'm going to make an herb and honey slaw using some angel hair cabbage. Turns out I don't have any mayo in the fridge, but I did have some Greek yogurt. So nix the mayo and the white wine vinegar. We're just going to use the Greek yogurt, our herbs, and our honey. There is an acid in the Greek yogurt that will mimic what the white wine vinegar would have done. Now, traditionally, a slaw dressing is going to consist of mayo, sugar, some sort of vinegar, salt and pepper, and some celery seed. We're going to change it up here for our uses. I want it to be sweet, but I don't want to use regular sugar, so I'm using honey. I also went into the garden and I grabbed some very great smelling mint and a little bit of flat leaf Italian parsley, and we're just going to give these guys a chop here real quick. The mint is going to go a long way to cool things down for us and give us a really bright, refreshing note. The fat that is in the Greek yogurt is also going to help cool things down for us. Think about it this way. Whenever you eat something hot, what works best is milk, right? To cool your mouth off. So the Greek yogurt is going to do the same thing. It's the fat content in there that is helping cool your mouth down. And then the sweetness from the honey here is just going to add a very nice, subtle note that will give a very friendly earthy feeling that will, again, help cool down your mouth from all of that heat that is about to go down with the hot chicken sandwich. Okay, so our herbs are chopped up, and we're just going to put them right on in there. I have about a half a cup of Greek yogurt there, and then I am just going to pour my honey right on top here. And I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons worth. That's just a rough guesstimate of what that was there. And let's have a little taste here. Love me some honey. Okay, let's give this a good mix. Now notice I'm doing this in a separate bowl. I always make my slaw dressing in a separate bowl because I don't want to overdress my slaw, so I add it in separately. Okay, before we forget, let's add some salt. That was a good pinch. That was probably about a half a teaspoon, and then this is about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and we'll give that a stir. That should stick to our slaw very well here. Let's give this a taste. Fantastic. Okay, let's add this into our slaw. And I'm only going to do a little bit at first. Save some in reserve. Use a fork here. Let's get all of this mixed together. Already see that was not enough, so we are going to end up using the rest of this mixture. In case you were wondering, the measurement on the cabbage was about a cup and a half. I'm going to make it probably 2 sandwiches tomorrow. One for me and one for the show. You always got to have a backup ready to go. Okay, look at that. That is mixed together nicely. Let's give this a taste and see how everything is doing here for us. That's going to be fantastic. Okay, I'm going to put this in a deli container and then get this in the refrigerator and let that hang out overnight. When we get into that tomorrow, all of these flavors are going to be really popping and ready to go for our sandwich. Okay guys, it is now Sunday. Our chicken thighs have been in a brine now for 18 hours. It is now time for me to get started with the rest of the process because I'm starting to get hungry. Next, I'm going to rinse these thighs off. That's why I have the colander over here. And then I'm going to put them in the bowl here and add my marinade. My marinade is just a Louisiana style hot sauce, whatever cayenne pepper styles hot sauce you can find. Then I have got a tablespoon of garlic powder and a tablespoon of paprika. That's it for my marinade. I'm going to keep it simple. So let's go ahead and get these thighs rinsed off. Okay guys, I've done a quick rinse of the thighs there. You can see there's still a little bit of the pepper flake that's still on the thigh themselves. Perfectly fine. Remember, it's hot chicken, so we want spice. That's all good. The purpose behind doing the quick rinse under cold water was just to get the vinegar off of the outside of the chicken. It gives us an opportunity for our hot sauce to adhere a little bit better. So let's go ahead and add our garlic powder. Let's get our hot sauce in there. And then I am going to throw on a glove real quick and mix this together. Okay, I'm gloved up and we're just going to mix this all together. All right, guys, the marinade is on our chicken and we're just going to throw this into the refrigerator for an hour. Now, important thing about marinating chicken in hot sauce. You really don't want to go longer than 24 to 48 hours marinating in a hot sauce. Reason being is that the hot sauce will actually begin to cook the chicken and spoil it pretty quickly. It's been about an hour now. We've got our thighs marinated. I've gone ahead and got our breading station set up here. We're going to do a couple of steps here. Let's talk about the breading first. I've got a cup of AP flour here. I've got a 1/4 cup of cornstarch and then a teaspoon each of salt and pepper. And we're just going to put everything together here. The cornstarch gives great crunchiness and texture to your breading here. So I'm just going to grab a fork here and mix all of this together. until well combined. There you go. I'm going to leave that fork there. That fork's going to be helpful for me here in just a moment. All right, so you notice here that I've got an extra bowl at the top here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the thighs and we're going to transfer them into the bowl up here, and we're going to keep that marinade handy for us because that's going to help us do some dip and some bread, some dip and some bread. Okay, so it'll be a little bit of a back and forth. So I'm going to throw some gloves on here, and then once I'm done breading, I'm going to put it here on some parchment paper and get ready to fry. Gloves are on. I am designating my left here as my wet and my right as my dry, and I'm going to try and keep them separate. Like I said, first things first, I am going to get the chicken out of my marinade here. And there's not a ton of marinade there, so I am going to help myself out with that. Got some more hot sauce here, and I'm just going to, just enough so that I can dip the, that's about a cup or so. Just enough here so that I can dip the chicken back in. So, wet hand, here we go. And it's going to go in the flour first. And we'll take the fork to kind of help us get everything dredged. And now take your hand, flip it over, get some good coverage here. Give it a pat if you need to make sure everything is sticking real good. And then we're going to take and we're going to drop, give it a shake, drop it in our hot sauce again. Do a quick turnover and ready. Here we go, back in to the flour. Okay, give it another shake. Get some of the flour on top. Trying my best to keep my dry hand as dry as possible. It's not easy to do when you're double breading like this. All right. There we go. Now I'm just going to take and put this on my parchment paper. There we go, and repeat. Okay, guys, there is the chicken all breaded up, and we're now going to move on over to the stovetop and get our oil heated up. Let's get frying. It's about time to start eating some fried chicken sandwich. Okay, guys, things are starting to happen and happen fast. I've already started with putting my oil in a cast iron. You can use any kind of pan that is going to handle high heat. I like the cast iron. It just holds heat really well. I've added just about a 1/4 inch of oil to the bottom of this pan, and I have got it on high heat right now to warm up. On my left here, you can see that I've set up a griddle. I'm going to use that to toast my buns with some butter so that they can stay nice and strong for our fried chicken. Over there on the right, I have set up a sheet pan with some paper towels and a screen to catch any excess grease that'll come off of the chicken after we're done frying. And then you can also see here I've got myself a fish spatula. This works great for fried food in a shallow pan. Our chicken's ready to go. I'm going to put on a glove here in just a moment once this oil gets heated up for us, and then we'll get to frying. Okay, guys, I'm starting to see some whiffs of smoke, and the oil is shimmering nicely for us. Good thing about the peanut oil is it's got a pretty high smoke point, so it can handle the heat pretty well. If I were using olive oil, this would have heated up, got to that smoke point a lot faster. So we're ready to go here. I went and grabbed my screen here so I can reduce the amount of splash. And because of the size of my pan, we're probably going to do this in 2 batches. So let's get started here. One important thing when we're dropping anything into a pan to fry, that we want to try and drop it away from ourselves as best as possible. There we go, nice and easy. And then same with that. And now I'm going to put my screen over top of it and let it. Okay guys, it's been about 2 minutes now, and I'm just going to give this kind of a move around just to make sure it's not sticking too much, and then we're going to put it back and leave it alone again. Okay guys, it's been about 4 minutes now of us frying on one side. Now we're going to do the flip. I'm going to take my fish spatula here and get underneath of it and just use my tongs to kind of prop everything. And then we're going to turn it over just like that. So nice and simple, nothing too crazy about it. And look at that, that just looks awesome. And we're going to give this about another 4 minutes or so. Check it at about 2 minutes, give it a little bit of a stir, and just keep it going. All right guys, it's been about 2 minutes since we turned it over. And what I want to do is just check to see where we're at temperature-wise. About 130 degrees on that one, about 140 on the smaller piece there. So we're getting close. Another 2 minutes should absolutely do us here. We're doing a temperature check here, just kind of seeing where we're at with everything. I'm about 7 minutes into my cook here, and my 158 or so. So just another minute on the smaller piece. The bigger piece here, I'm sure, is going to take about 2 more minutes on this, and then I'm just going to continue my batch. All right guys, I know this thinner piece is done. I'm going to transfer that over to my wire rack to allow it to drain and cool. And I just want to give this big guy a check, see where we're at on everything. Bottom side of that is looking fantastic. Let's find a nice thick part here. Ooh, there we go. And let's see where we're at on this guy. This one should be about done too. We're at 8 minutes or so. Yeah, rising nicely through 150. Continuing the rise through 160. And 165 for sure, and continuing the rise. That's great. All right, guys, I'm going to finish frying these up. A couple more minutes here, and that's going to allow my pieces to rest and drain the excess fryer oil. So these pieces over here, we're just going to let them hang out, and then we'll be ready to put everything together on a bun, and it'll be time to eat. Okay, guys, are we ready? I'm ready. I'm getting hungry. We've got our bun fried up. We have our chicken fried up. Okay, slaw is ready, and we've got a bowl here so that we can sauce up our chicken. Put on a glove here. Whoop, whoop. There we go. Okay, let's do a little bit of our sauce in the bottom of the bowl. Let's drop our chicken right on into that sauce. And then let's hit the top of it and give it a little bit of a shake. There we go. Get that sauce all around. Do our best not to break up the breading too much. There we go. Here's our bottom. And because this is going to make a mess all over the place here for me, I'm going to do this just like that. Yep, there we go. All right. I can smell the heat coming off of that sauce. Holy cow. Give our slaw a little bit of a toss here. This is going to be a great balance for our heat, and we're going to put that directly on the top. There we go. Sauce is boss, and top it off. And I don't know about you guys, but I am hungry and I am ready. Let's wrap this up and get it in my belly. All right, guys, well, we have finished the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich. It's been put together. I have cut it open, and I am ready to take a look. And let's take a look at that. Oh, yeah, that looks great. Let's give it a try, right? Let's see how it is. Let's see if this is going to light me up like expected. Mmm. That's good. Ton of flavor. Pretty daggone hot. Ooh, now build it in. All right, guys. I'm going to power through this because it's delicious, but it's got some heat, and I'm going to be hurting at the end of this one. That's for dang sure. I hope you guys have an opportunity to try this yourself. Leave a comment in the comments down below. Let me know if you tried this out. If you did, make sure you take a picture of it and post it to the Racin-n-Braisin Facebook page. Hope you all found a lot of value in this video. My mouth is on fire right now, so I'm going to finish off this sandwich. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next cooking video here at Racin-n-Braisin. Thanks.